Welcome to Renovating number 5. Follow us on our journey through the highs and lows of renovating our new adventure. Last time on number 5 we completed the retaining wall. This time we start on the new bathroom area, where we discover some unwelcome surprises. First we need to get rid of this ugly brick barbecue wall. Luckily we have an empty garage to store the bricks and rubble. We will try and recycle them later. The tile patio area is a bit of a challenge, especially when you don't have the right tools for the job.
Ooh. Oh, big bird ain't going to go through there.
A bigger one again in order to get the next one.
Well, I thought I'd try and drill a bigger one again, but I haven't got any bigger drill bits. That's the one I was using. That one's a bit smaller. I've got that one, but it's about the same size as that, and it's not. So, let's see what happens with that. It's hollow underneath. This is water's washed all this away. We're going to have to. That's my view of it, because when the drill gets to about that deep, it just
drops down. I saw that.
and it's not even pulling up any dirt. So, mind your eye, I should have my eye protection. Going to grab me the goggle and have it.
We eventually break through the surface. What's below, that is quite amusing.
So I spent most of yesterday breaking up the concrete that was here between I've got rid of a lot of the rubble. Turns out the slab that was in here was just suspended on some reinforcing steel where the gutter had been leaking. The water had been running and catching in here and then running down into the concrete, and it had snapped in half over this supporting wall here. We've got a couple of problems to address, which we've exposed. So there's obviously damp behind the concrete, which now means that this bearer here is completely rotten, and it looks like we've had some ant in here at some point. Not so worried about that. Bottom of the frame there, that's easy to do. I'm a little bit more worried about the bearer, so going to get some measures, going to see whether cut it out and put some repair wood in there. So the glamorous part of the job, just going to climb down underneath if I can get through. We can try and cut the bearer out back over the pier or the brickwork there, see what we can do the other side. Where's the silver fox when you need him? Now I think what I'm going to do is get underneath and cut the other end. See if I can get you in there.
After drilling a series of holes using the spade drill bit, we finally get one of the main bearers free and replace it with a new piece of wood along with the framework in the old bathroom. Sadly, the next bit of footage was corrupt as we transferred it to our computer, so you don't get to see us building the formwork for the retaining wall, but basically we use marine ply and metal posts to form a wall. After 21 bags of concrete, the wall is complete.
Concrete walling, we've got some rebar in there. We've had to pull the waste through for the new toilet when this becomes the bathroom eventually, and we're just going to pull the formwork off and we'll see what it looks like. We think that this concrete here also has to come up because it's pretty poor quality and it's running along the wrong way, so likelihood is there's more work to do here than we thought. Let's see if we can get the formwork out. So that looks like it's going to be strong enough to hold back the concrete when we come to fill this back in again. I spent some of yesterday using the $200 Bunnings jackhammer to break up the rest of the concrete here at the back of the house where the new bathroom is going to be. You can see that in places, in true DIY style, it was over thick. This through it, which is steel bar, but it's hollow, so don't know what they were doing with that because it's clearly not strong enough. Anyway, it took a while. It was messy, noisy, and we're gonna pull and dusty. We're gonna pull this out later on today and start getting rid of some of this concrete, of which we have lots and lots and lots of concrete debris. So we're going to get rid of some of that. Probably going to cut back further here around the drain. Didn't need to come back quite as far, but this section here was running into the house. So when we've got the new base in there for the bathroom, we don't really want water laying in there. We need to get it back into whatever drainage we've got. We've got this big curb here. That's the dog, but below the dog is the big curb. You okay, Summer? You're inspecting the big curb. So we've got the big curb here that runs the length of the back of the house. Unfortunately, it's reinforced into the concrete slab here, which we're hoping not to remove. So that might be a bit of work to take that out.
Give him a hand. So here we are at the waste site where we've dumped some of our concrete. Just a small bit of concrete actually, which was the bathroom floor. Oh no, it's not the bathroom floor. Which was the barbecue area floor that needed to come up because it was so badly engineered, basically. So we sat in a line now trying to exit with the rest of the drill truckies. So that's really exciting.
Look at the size of some of those rocks that I just unloaded by hand. Look at them. Their business model's good. So it's $34 a tonne plus GST to dump clean concrete, and then they crush it and sell it back to you as aggregate.
which we probably will do eventually.
Yeah.
But never mind, whatever. Okay, so it's our turn to go through the splash pool. We're assuming this is just to take away any dust and not because
bring your car down there.
no, and I bottom my car out, I reckon. Right, now turn to weigh in.
That's got to be ton.
2.72.
2.72.
That's including the car.
That's right.
Sorry, around the dock.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so we're back in the going to do the concrete base. Yesterday we had to redo the waste pipe because we put it in the wrong place, which was a bit annoying, and it took a really long time because that concrete was really hard, which is a good thing because we know it's not going to hopefully crack, but it was a real nightmare to dig out. This was a complete void at one point, so we've tried to level off the rough ground that was here because it was just up and down everywhere, and so we've backfilled what we've taken out of here and put in here, and we're going to obviously fill that up to make it level with the rest of the ground. So that's part of what we're going to do in a minute, is to level all this. Also, whilst we were yesterday, we did a roughing out of where the pipe work is going to go. So you can see this big hole there. That's going to be where our centre grate is for the water thing, and along the line is the pipe. So, and if you can, I don't know, if you scan around, you might not actually see the markings on the wall where we've marked where the toilet, where the sink's going to go, and where the bath's going to go. So we're going to have a big bath along here. So once we've levelled it out and compacted this ground down, because this needs to be compacted down as well, otherwise it's just going to move after the concrete's been put in. So it needs to be compacted first. Then we need to put a plastic sheeting, a proper builder's plastic sheeting to stop moisture coming up and ruining the concrete and obviously causing damp. When we've done that, we need to then put the pipe work back in, put the Rio on. So we've got a lot of Rio to go in to strengthen the concrete, and they're going to go on little, I call them cups, but they're not really cups, they're little plastic things to keep it off the ground. And then we're going to have someone in to deliver some concrete. With the pipework in the correct position, we peg it into place so when we pour the concrete it doesn't move. So we've compacted down the soil as much as we can. It's not level, we know, because the soil was so rubbish that we didn't want to backfill it with all the clay that was left in the garden. So we're going to put the plastic, and then we're going to have some environmental base to go on top of the plastic, and that's how we'll level the floor out with that first before we can put the concrete in. We've got a line in so that we know where the top of the concrete should go. That's how high it's going to be up once the concrete's been put in. So we know that, so when we do put our environmental base down, we know where the low bits are, where the high bits, so we can try and make it as level as possible. We've put bags on top of the pipes to stop when the concrete going down the pipes. Okay, that's the reason why they're typed up. And we've tried to keep up the plastic sheeting as much as possible so it protects the walls and the wood that's there. One thing we did notice is we took off the shroud underneath the lintel that's there, and we took it off so that we could see, to make sure that we could get the walls plumb, because we noticed that it's a little bit skew in there, in that corner. Some bits are longer than the other, so we wanted to make sure it was plumb with that wall because we're going to make it flush. So when we took it off, what we did notice is that we do have a serious case of rot, and that lintel is all rotting away. and so is all the wall. So it's a little bit more expense than we hadn't anticipated, but so it's a bit annoying because we're going to have to dress that before we can put the wall back up, or the new wall up. There you go, that's the downsides of having an old house. And that is purely, and the whole reason why this is so rotten here is purely because for some strange and bizarre reason that the owners removed the downpipe and didn't put a new piece of guttering up or fix the hole, and so basically the water was rushing down, going into the wood here. So we come to the quarry and we're going to get some 550 kilos of Enviro stone to go on top of the plastic that goes underneath the concrete for our base. Fortunately, we're not allowed out of the car, so you can't actually see it properly. Hopefully, the trailer will stand up to the strain. You can feel the car move. And that's it. Doesn't seem very much for 500 kilos, but there you go. Never mind. So the operator was asked to put in 550 kilos of environmental base. However, he overfilled the trailer to 620. So now we've got to shovel off 70 kilos because we're overweight and they won't let us leave. And we're starving hungry. Do you reckon that's it? So this is the environmental base, and basically it's just fine. I would have imagined it concrete originally and dirt and who knows what's in there. But pretty much it's whatever we brought over. It's all this stuff that we've taken and spent $33.66 on and crushed up a load and turned into that, and we paid $33.66 on that. So basically, yeah, that's what it is, all crushed up. Now the Enviro base has been laid and compacted, we lay the cups out randomly, cut the Rio to size and fix them together using wire. It's a fiddly job getting the cups in the correct place to stabilise the Rio and getting it all at the right height. After doing the mess, we realised it's cheaper to buy the concrete in bags rather than getting it delivered. It's challenging tampering out the concrete to make it level, especially with the pipework in the way. It's a back-breaking job, even the gimbal has had enough. Next week on renovating number 5, we get to grips with all the rot and start work on the framework for the new bathroom. Join our adventure, like, subscribe and share. Thanks for watching.